Oh, it's been a little while since we've been here, but we're back with another episode of the Fly High Wi-Fi Mental Health Podcast. Summertime's busy for a lot of people, so whoever's here tonight, we appreciate it. If you guys don't get a chance to watch it live, that is always here in Twitch's VODs, and it also will be uploaded to Facebook and to the major platforms that you can listen to as Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. What's the smirk for?
I'm just seeing the comments.
Oh, it's always cricky. It's always cricky. Um, how have you been?
Me?
Yep.
Good,
Good, good.
I think.
You think?
Busy? I don't
Yeah, I
know.
feel that one. I feel that one.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Is busy and just just here.
Just here, yeah. Just existing, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
And you said the same.
yes, with
You
the
didn't bring the
puppies.
puppies in again?
I will. I'll bring them in. I will. I'll bring them in, guys. Let us get this going, and then we'll do it later. They're sleeping. I don't want to bother them, right?
That's my obsession.
Yeah, dogs. 100%
Dogs.
dogs.
Gonna be distracted the whole time.
Right. Make sure.
Um, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah,
Are
we
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 ready?
got a couple topics, guys, tonight. Yes, we do. We
Do you know
have
what they are?
family dynamics and the impacts on mental health, and then trauma bonding. Don't
Yeah.
don't act like I
You
was
read it
reading that
right
off
from
my
the
phone.
text.
Oh
Good, I'm proud of
man,
you.
yeah, I'm personally getting attacked here. Heck, no, I didn't know the topics. Again, guys. Family dynamics and the impacts of mental health, and then trauma bonding are going to be the two topics for tonight. Which one do you want to start with?
We're gonna do the family dynamics first.
Starting with family dynamics.
Um, so let me obviously we've talked a lot about like how relationships and stuff can play a role. So obviously your family dynamic can play a crucial role in shaping an individual's behavior and mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So the ways that families interact, the quality of their relationships, and the way they communicate and their patterns can either enhance or hinder the behavior health outcomes of that person. So, and a lot of the disorders that we've talked about, that's kind of like the environmental aspect of what they're referring to.
Right.
So, family interactions, such as like conflict resolution styles, that is where a lot of this grows. So, if you grow up in a household where there's a lot of yelling or physical ways of resolving that, that either is going to be how you learn to resolve that conflict, or it's going to be something that you are fearful of in the future that other people are going to resolve. We've also talked about attachment patterns. Those typically come from the way you've seen your family interact. So your family dynamic is usually where your attachment pattern stems from.
Okay.
Um, so the impacts of an adverse family environment can have detrimental effects on on children's behavioral health. Neglect, abuse, and inconsistent parenting can disrupt children's emotional well-being and negatively impact their social and behavioral development. When children are exposed to harmful dynamics within their family, it can lead to emotional and behavioral issues that may persist into adulthood. So you'll see these interactions when they're children.
Okay. And that's what I was thinking about that too. Like with my childhood, with my mom and my dad, they weren't like a lovey-dovey kind of thing. They were do what you got to do throughout the day, see you guys for dinner, and then you go back your own ways kind of thing.
Hmm.
And then I moved down and lived with my sister, and watching my brother-in-law come up behind my sister every day, behind her in the kitchen, wrap his arms around her, kiss her on her cheek, and just show that little bit of passion and that love and fuel for her. Um, Getting to see that is how I wanted to project onto my kids and like let them see that in a loving household, because my niece and my nephew turned out great. Um, and versus me and my brothers and my other sister, we kind of rebelled and did things that we didn't know. And I agree with like what you surround yourself with or what you surround your kids with is how it can be huge.
Was at first, was it weird for you to see that? Did it have to grow on you?
Actually, no. It was nice to see to actually see love portrayed in other ways rather than thinking like, oh, this is what love really looks like. But my mom and my dad were tough. They fought more than they didn't. So
I can see that. I mean, I was kind of the same way. Like my parents always fought, so like when I saw other things, that's was like what I was drawn to. So it had the adverse effect on me. I was like, I didn't
right,
want that.
yeah, I didn't want what I seen in my parents, but watching my sister, my brother, and my uncle, all of them, they all had that. My mom was the only one to go single, except for my aunt Trish. But so
Hmm. So it moves into like the influence of family dynamics on mental health disorders.
mhm.
So they play a crucial role in shaping an individual's mental health. So high levels of stress, dysfunctional conflict, and unhealthy communication patterns within the family can contribute to the onset or causing mental health disorders to be inflamed. So you might have it, but it's going to set those like peaks to come more often.
Okay,
For example, a family environment that's characterized by constant criticism, invalidation, or emotional neglect may increase the risk of developing anxiety or depression. Similarly, families with history of trauma or abuse may cause individuals to be diagnosed with PTSD or other trauma related disorders. So we've talked about that a little bit.
we did.
Mental illnesses not only affect the individuals experiencing them, but they also have a significant impact for families, for the family dynamic. So this is kind of like the reverse. So if someone's diagnosed with a mental illness, it might change how the family dynamic is.
Well,
So
I
for
could see that because like then that child might get more attention than the other children in the household. Well, it's not that they might, it's because they are in need of more attention, right? Because they have the mental health problem or medical problem even at that point. It could be the same thing. Oh, my Discord just cut out. What the heck?
I don't know.
It did the same thing. Be right back. All right, we're back. Maybe. I don't know why it did that. Discord must have an update coming up.
Well, okay, we'll keep going.
Yep.
um, so it kind of gives the example of like a child with autism. You kind of have to build your life around like that structured routine and setting clear expectations. So you kind of have that fear of judgment or societal perceptions. So it changes your family dynamic in that sense because your fear of the outside perception
Yeah.
because of that mental health disorder that you're kind of working your life around.
I get that. I had a buddy, his sister had cerebral palsy, and it was all about the easiest way to make sure that she could go or be involved or who had to take care of her. And
Mhm.
he just got to do whatever he wanted because he didn't need that attention. And he didn't like it, but he took advantage of it too, though.
I think you just kinda work through kind of that outside noise and you get into your own groove eventually, as long
Absolutely.
as it's a healthy family dynamic, which kind of moves into like the next topic of there's some healthy dynamics that can help you within growing that dynamic no matter what situation you're in, and it's open communication. You're always talking and you're making the family feel safe to express their emotions, concerns, dreams, and stuff like that without judgment or guesswork or misunderstandings. So that's putting in the work up front so the entire family is able to communicate where they stand. This is the next one, kind of talks about what we were just talking about, adaptable roles. You need to be able to be flexible within your roles within the family dynamic. I know it's a little harder with like kids, but if you have like older people within the family dynamic, being able to kind of shift those roles in case someone can't do that role anymore. Having shared family values, so personalities, beliefs, all of those kind of aligning, even though you're different. Having conflict resolution. This is a big one because I know we're like everyone's different. Being able to come together to resolve the conflict is the biggest thing.
Sometimes you just
Remembering
gotta
that.
disagree or
Go
agree
ahead.
to disagree, right?
Yeah, you can agree to disagree, but also remembering it's not you guys against each other, it's you against the problem. And then having that supportive environment.
Yeah, you gotta have the support inside your family. If you don't feel like you have that support, then you're gonna be feel like you're missing something alone.
hmm So then it also talks about the differences between like the standard dynamic household where it's parent like the parents are together with the kids, the single household. Um then it talks about the why is
I'm sorry.
the words are not coming to me.
Oh, I was like,
The meshed family, that's not the words though. Two different families coming together.
blended.
Blended, thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. Love that movie, by the way. Guys haven't seen him. Adam Sandler, great movie.
So each family with that is different too. So it just depends on how you're handling your communication within it. So
Right.
there's not a lot of solid studies on it because it all depends on how you handle that situation.
And me having a stepson that a lot of people don't even know he is my stepson because I don't treat him any different than I treat our other children. So it's hard sometimes, especially when his father tries to come in after he's been gone for a couple of years or doing whenever he comes and goes. Doesn't call on birthdays, doesn't call on Christmas, sends only a gift but never talks to him, and then calls randomly like, "Hey, I'm gonna come get him." No, you're not. Like, that's not how this works. You're either gonna be a dad full time or you're not.
Yeah. Yep. Because that just messes with
It's
his head
oh
more than
every
it helps
time,
him.
every time we there's always a like a drawback. We always go backwards, and it's hard.
So it talks about those too. But again, it just depends on how the family handles the situation. and
Right.
each blended family is different. Each
Absolutely.
like solid like together household is different. Each single family is different because it's how you're handling those 5 steps that it talks about.
Absolutely. And I
So
think
you're
today's society, it's a little harder to find that groove because right now both parents, most of them are working.
mhm,
And when that one's not working, the other one might be. Like Chantel and I are in split schedules. She's on nights, I'm on days. So we have to try to be on the same page when we're not together so the kids have that same dynamic and same rule set so they have the same routine, and it's not easy.
is not playing the mom and dad card.
But mom said, but dad said,
Mm,
yeah. Yeah, with both parents working nowadays, I think it's really tough where mom or dad isn't staying home with the kids full time. I don't think anybody can really afford to unless they have like a major job, but then they're
no,
probably never
I,
home.
yep. The other one's never home
Yeah,
because so then it falls more into like the single parenting life because the other one's not really there being, I don't want to say not being the parent because they're supporting in the financial side, but they're not being there to,
for discipline and
yeah.
everyday things, food, laundry.
Hmm. But
So,
that's why it's so different and they can't find solid studies on how each one impacts because there's so many different. And then are they both working? Are they not? How is it?
mhm.
Does one work here? Does one work there? And then a lot of times when you're separated, I know growing up when my parents got divorced, I was with my mom in the summer and my dad in during the school year. So there was 3 months of the year
Right.
I was in a whole different situation and then I would go back to another different situation. So it was different dynamics that I was falling
Oh
into.
man, that's got to be tough for a lot of people, right? Get to be I guess I could say the same thing when Gray used to go to his dad's every other weekend. He'd come back and be like he had no rules or no
Mhm.
bedtime or no worry what he ate. He could just do whatever the heck he wanted and come back and think he could
Y-
push the buttons with it and not work here.
Yep. So you're trying to like you're rewiring so it impacts the kid
Hmm.
on what's right where, especially when they're developing, they're learning all of these different new things.
Definitely taught Gray how to be sneaky in a couple ways because he knew he could get away with more stuff over there than he could here.
So he was learning how to like, how do I work the system here
But
to
but then he'd come back and try to push the buttons a little bit here, a little too far sometimes, and he'd find out discipline was here. There is there is repercussions for your actions here.
actions have consequences.
Absolutely. And we went down the whole rabbit hole of I hate it here, that stuff. And
So there's definitely a lot to that, but
mm-hmm.
no matter the family dynamic is going to impact. I've also seen people where the family dynamic, their parents were together, their parents were really strict, but then the second they got an ounce of freedom, they just like took off. So that's also a dynamic that
A
impacted them
lot of
in
my
a,
friends, a lot of my friends are
yeah.
like that. What is going on here?
Oh,
Yeah, something must be going on with Discord and must have an update. I don't know. I fixed it. We're good.
but so that's all those different dynamics play a part into how
Absolutely.
you grow up. And now, trauma bonding.
And now, trauma bond. I love how you did that. All right.
Unless you have anything more with family
No,
dynamics.
no. Just again, guys, you ain't seen Blended. Go see Blended. Great movie.
That is his commentary to.
I love that movie. I do. I can't say that I don't. It's a great movie.
Uh, so what's your perception on trauma bonding? What do you know?
Um, in a generalization of what I think it is, um, how people that have been through trauma can grow together and be stronger together and bonding over that same trauma that they've been through, and how they could lift each other up and find strength in one another.
I can see why you think that.
Ah, shoot. He shoots, he
Um,
misses.
so trauma bonding is a strong emotional attachment to an abuser.
That was not what I thought. Completely the opposite way. They should
So it's
rename
that
this 100%.
so it TikTok is a lot.
Yeah, like
So yes, what you're saying is a thing, but that's not trauma bonding.
it should be.
Um, this is why it's so hard for people to leave domestic violence relationships because they've trauma bonded to this person.
Okay.
Um, and it's like surprisingly very, very common.
You don't
Um,
say. We all have people we know that done it.
oh yeah. Um, so studies indicate around 18% of women in abusive relationships report experiencing significant symptoms of trauma bonding. Um, and this is the key reason why people stay instead of leaving. Um, and this is something that I feel like probably a lot of people have heard. The average amount of times for someone to leave a domestic violence relationship is 7 times. It takes them 7 tries to leave.
I still think we need to change the name.
Um, so more than 40% of women and 26% of men in the US have experienced violence from their partner. So all those numbers play a part in this. Why this becomes a thing is when the makeup, so the makeup part of this violence releases that dopamine. So at the beginning, and I'll get into at the beginning of the relationship, so there's 7 stages of trauma bonding.
Okay,
And
so
typically
seven's kind of the
this,
magic number right here. We got seven
yep,
attempts and then 7 steps. So
yep, yeah, 7 stages. When you're in this cycle, the love bombing stage is what you're kind of trying to reach again. So in that makeup stage after the violence or whatever's happened, that's when you feel that like love bombing stage again and it releases that dopamine hit in your head. They also have this attachment to the person because it's kind of like a comforting. They know what to expect. They
yeah,
know this is going to happen, the fear of change. So they've kind of trauma bonded to this person because their brain has been rewired that this is what is supposed to happen. I'm treated nicely, then I'm not, then I'm treated nicely. So they know this cycle.
and that's the crazy thing is you go through it, they get so angry, and then they apologize, and then they're nice for a little while, and then the
It's
vicious
the
cycle starts all over again.
Yep, it's called the rewiring and reward system. So typically, the abuser falls under like the narcissism category, not always, but that's why this naturally kind of falls the way it is because typically it is the narcissist being the abuser. Don't hold me to that because it's not always. And then you have the abusee that is in that rewiring stage. The narcissist is rewiring them with that rewiring and reward system, rewiring their brain that this is what's supposed to happen. So then they become trauma bonded to them so that they're too afraid to leave because they don't know what else to expect.
Right.
So the 7 stages of trauma bonding include stage 1, which is the love bombing, stage 2, where become you trust them and you become dependent on them. Stage 3 is where the criticism and de-evaluation of yourself from the abuser comes.
So
Stage 4,
go ahead.
oh,
Go ahead. What I was thinking about with that one is, like you say, the narcissist usually, majority of the time, is the abuser. After it happens, they apologize, but then at the same time they're apologizing, they're explaining why it was that person's fault that it happened.
mhm,
And that's where I see number three, right?
yep. So once the abuser has created that stable sense of trust and dependency, that's when they're shifting their demeanor into the abusive behaviors. And that's the criticism, de-evaluation of that person. So
Yep.
this is where they start to break that person down. Then stage 4 is the manipulation and gaslighting. Stage 5 is resignation and giving up. So the target of the abuse, so the abusee, starts to feel emotionally exhausted, so they kind of just give up on it. This is where the rewiring truly has happened. Like whatever the abuser's saying to them, they're believing. So like you don't deserve anything else, like blah blah blah, like whatever
Right.
it may be in that instance, they're believing it so that they don't think they can go anywhere else.
Understandable.
Second. Stage 6 is loss of self. So this is where they've completely lost everything about themselves. They have been belittled and made feel crazy, worthless, inadequate, so they just kind of given up.
Right.
And during this stage, it's important to be aware that there could be signs of like suicide. And then stage 7 is emotional addiction to the trauma bond cycle. So this is where it starts to cycle. So once they hit this point of where I'm ready to leave, I've hit a breaking point, I need to start over, the love bombing starts to happen again. And then they'll go back through every single stage of the 7 stages. Kind of pull you back in, I'll love bomb you, I'll gain your trust back again, and
Be
then I'll
good for
start
a
it all over.
while. The next thing you know, triggered, and it starts all over.
So it's really important to understand that this is not an overnight process. People get to this spot over months, even years. Because you'll hear people say, like, he wasn't like this before he got married, or she wasn't like this before XYZ. So this is a long, drawn out, like, process of once they've gotten to that trust part, that's when the true self comes out.
Right.
And then after you get out of the cycle, there is actual trauma bond withdrawals. So once you leave that person, it's the same as getting off of like a drug
Is this like a
because
lot of the
you're
dopamine and stuff?
craving, yep, you're craving that dopamine hit, you're craving all of those hits that were going to your brain when that love bombing sense would come in. So
Makes
your
sense.
body's going through all these different changes while you're going through this.
It's crazy. I still think they need to change the name.
What do you think the name should be?
I don't know, but it shouldn't be trauma bonding because you think of bonding, it's like you're growing together, you're bonding with someone.
That's what I used to think it was. Like you went through something
Well,
and then
yeah, you threw me for a hook. You just gave me that little smirk, like, yeah, go ahead, go for it, keep going. You're doing great. No, you're not.
you were doing great because that's what I used to think it was too. And then I was like, well, I was really far off. Because
Yeah.
I used to say all the time, those people were trauma bonded. And then I was like, no, they weren't.
Little did we know. See, guys, this
But
is
this is awesome.
huge. Yeah, this is huge. We
Hmm.
learn something new all the time.
So that's pretty much
That's
all I have for that too.
all right. Awesome. Well, are we gonna try this again in 2 weeks? Or are we still kind of busy
No, I've slowed down.
as
So
I
two
pick up?
weeks.
But
Yeah,
I should
so
be
it's
all
up to
right.
you.
Yeah, I should be all right if we can keep going. So, all right, guys, we learned trauma bonding was not what I thought it was. Yeah, can't believe that's what I thought it was. It's crazy. We also learned about the family dynamics and impacts of mental health. Cricky blew my mind too. Yeah, buddy, it's crazy. Um, a little bit I could relate to on the that side of it. The trauma bonding, I am not so much of, but yeah, I'm still can't. I'm gonna think of a name when we come back. I'm gonna have a new name for it. I'm gonna
Yeah,
petition the change.
start it, sign it.
All right, guys, we appreciate your time. We're gonna try again for 2 Thursdays from now, so 2 weeks. Try to keep it rolling. See if we can get some more episodes going. And again, if you hear or want to hear of any certain topics, you guys can write us in the Discord. Message us here on Twitch, on Facebook, and we will do the best to, well, do research on the topic and pull the statistics because she's way better at research than I am apparently because I don't even know what trauma bonding is. Um, but if you're, yeah, again, if you ever want to hear any topics or have something you would like us to talk about or try to pull some statistics or even want to be on the show and talk about the topic with us, guys, remember this is an open forum. You guys are more than welcome to come join us, and we would love to have guests on here. It helps, and then again, everything you guys do here for the channel. Um, we have merch. If you guys are interested in merch, exclamation point merch in the Twitch chat. All funds that go through the merch are put back into the foundation to help in any way we can with others and other things that we do. Wintertime is coming up fast in a hurry, believe it or not. So we like to try to adopt families in the wintertime for the holidays and make sure that they have the things that they need. So we'll continue with that. But until the next time, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.